In a continuation of our different shapes and sizes comparison series, today we have for you another family affair. The sweet handling Seltos and the taller, longer wheel-based Carens. They both come from Kia, are based on the same platform and are priced within a lakh of each other. But from there on out, they take a different approach to family mobility. Crossover SUV versus recreational vehicle. Premium versus practical. Where's your money at? So the Carens is both taller and longer than the Seltos. A higher center of gravity won't help, but a longer wheelbase could add stability. The Seltos is making an appearance at this corner for the first time. Its shorter wheelbase, wider and larger wheels make it a bit of a favorite. And since it's been around longer, it gets dibs on setting a mark. At 60 kmph, both the Seltos and the Carens take that corner nice and smooth, and there's plenty of room to spare between that front tire and this last cone, with the only thing to tell them apart being a little more body roll in the Carens. At 65 kmph, the Seltos is still composed through that corner. Yes, there's a little bit of understeer creeping in, but there's still about a foot gap between that last cone. At 65 kmph in the Carens, things have changed a little. It's starting to drift wide and a lot more body roll and just a sliver of gap before it hits that cone. 70 kmph, why not? At 70 kmph, the Seltos is reaching its limit. ESP is cutting in early and it's starting to drift wide. But unlike the Creta, which kept drifting wider, the Seltos keeps on turning and it just clips that last cone. 70 kmph in the Carens. No. This is the Carens in our practice run at 65 kmph. While it did run better later, the fact that the tail had started to come around at 65 kmph prompted us to err on the side of safety first. So no 70 kmph run was attempted. Like we said before, they're both turbo petrols. They're also automatics, so very easy to launch down the road. Sport mode, 140 PS, 242 Newton meters of torque. Let's see which car does it better. Despite having the same powertrain, the Seltos accelerates quicker than the Carens. Down to different weights perhaps? Possibly. But Kia hasn't released curb weight figures on either. Still, a gap of just 0.1 of a second is a very small margin. In the braking department, it's a lot closer battle. The Carens actually takes the win, but by a margin of just under a meter. The added length and weight helping the Carens to do a better job than the Seltos despite its wider contact patches? Without true weight numbers, your guess is as good as ours. So now that you know what I'm holding, you know what's coming up next, but someone doesn't. Ani? Like to introduce you guys to Anirudhan. He's from our news team, takes care of cars. He has no idea what he's doing right now. You know what's coming up next, Ani?
By the looks of it, I think it's a ride and handling test.
Yes. And you are the Bakra today.
That means...
Let's go. We'll show you.
Okay.
When it comes to the way these two ride, then the tides shift in the Carens' favor. The Seltos' stiffer setup is evident both over bad roads like these or even on tarmac. Sharp bumps and speed breakers have to be taken a lot slower than in the Carens to keep the suspension from complaining with a thud. In our very scientific mug test, the Seltos spilled 200 ml of water. The Carens suspension is a lot more compliant, and this is evident by it spilling just 150 ml of water in our H2O experiment. It's also pretty evident to cabin occupants as well. The Carens just rides better, both over broken roads as well as better insulating the cabin from smaller imperfections on smooth roads as well. The Seltos easily won the cornering and the acceleration tests. It's clearly the car for the enthusiast driver. The Carens fought back though, winning the braking test and simply acing the ride quality test. And so, with 2 wins under each belt, this test ends in a tie. So match the car to your needs and you can't go wrong. Pick the Seltos if you like being behind the wheel and cover long distances often. Pick the Carens if you like to take the whole family whenever and wherever you go.